Hey guys, Michael from Copper vs Glass, and this is the Moza Mini Mi Gimbal, and this is the reason why I don't have my DJI Osmo 2 anymore. Let me explain. First off, a quick rundown of what you get inside the box. Now, really essential is this really tiny tripod that is pretty much the most useful thing that you can get with a gimbal. Now, this is something that you don't get with a DJI Osmo or an Osmo 2, you do have to buy it separately, and it's also not a tripod, it's just a stand, so it's really nice to have this included in the packaging. This gives you a really easy way to actually prop up the gimbal itself, and just in general, if you need to place it down or if you need to get everything level, then this is a great way to do it. You don't need to balance the gimbal or hold the gimbal while you're doing anything in regards to balancing your device. You can just place it down on a table really easily. Now, you are also going to get included a micro USB cable, and you guys know how I feel about this. It should definitely be USB Type-C by now, but it's not too big of a problem. You also have a ton of 1/4 inch threads on the actual gimbal itself, so if you want to do anything like attaching a screen, a microphone, or just in general anything you can think of, then again, this is kind of the only gimbal that I've seen with so many attachments on there. You've got one on the actual part that grips the phone, one on the back of the handle, and then you've also got one on the bottom as well, which is really awesome if you do want to put it on an actual tripod for, you know, just some extra stability. Something else that you don't see on most gimbals is wireless charging using the Qi wireless standard. Now, this is really awesome if you've got a Galaxy device or an iPhone that supports wireless charging to just allow you to use the gimbal for a little bit longer. You've also got some standard USB ports as well if your phone doesn't support wireless charging, and then on the back of the handle at the bottom you've got the micro USB port, which, as I mentioned, is what you use to charge the gimbal. Now onto the actual stabilisation of your device. Now, don't get fooled into thinking that a gimbal stabilizer is instantly going to make all of your footage extremely smooth. You do need to actually do some manual work to get it a little bit level beforehand before actually turning on the gimbal. Now, the reason for this is you want to have the horizon exactly straight, and you don't want the gimbal to be doing too much work. If you've got it completely off center and you then try to actually center it, what it's then going to do is going to make the motors be used a lot more, which again isn't great on battery life or the life of the actual motors themselves. So basically what you want to do is imagine that your phone is laying on a table, and imagine how straight that's going to be from both the side and also the top when you're looking at it. As you can see here, just by moving the phone around ever so slightly, you can see that it's pretty much level in here, and again, that's going to help with those motors that I mentioned. So then when you go to actually turn it on, it's not going to be doing as much work at all. So again, in terms of the battery life of the actual gimbal and the motor lifespan, it's going to be a lot better once everything's all leveled and smooth, as you can see here. Now, there is a Moza Mini application, but for me, I always use Filmic Pro no matter which device I'm going to be using. So if you guys want to see a full review of the Moza Mini software, then let me know with a comment down below. So a triple tap of the left hand side button basically puts you in lock mode. So as you can see here, no matter what you do with the gimbal, it's not going to move your device at all, and you can even move the handle 360 degrees, which gives you some really awesome features which we'll go on to in just a moment. But as you can see here, it's very stable, very secure. A quick double tap will then put it into pan mode, so turning from left and right is going to then allow it to actually really smoothly follow you, again left to right, but the up and down movement isn't going to be moving at all, as you can see here. So what you need to do to actually get that to move is triple tap on the left hand side, and then that's going to allow you to pan up, down, left and right no matter what direction you want to go. So even if you want to go in a nice diagonal movement, this is going to be a really easy way to do so, as it's going to follow you exactly where you point the gimbal. And again, in the Moza Mini software and the application you can download for both iOS and Android, you can also do certain things like changing the speeds of the motors as well. So if you want to get a really slow or really quick pan, then again, you've got the option to do so. Now, double tapping on the down of the joystick, as you can see here, what that's going to do again is going to completely switch around the camera itself. So it's going to turn it into selfie mode. So again, double press this button down here. It's going to switch the camera around completely, allowing you to get some really awesome selfie mode as well. And with a phone like the Google Pixel XL2, for example, with 4K at 30 frames a second, that's going to be so much better than using the front-facing camera, and you can also guarantee that it's going to be stabilized as well. And you can also just use the joystick above the control dial as well if you want to get some very precise movement as well. So again, panning from left to right as well, you can easily use the joystick and just hold it either left, right, up or down to get some really smooth movement without actually having to move the gimbal itself. Now, you've also got basically a sport mode as well. So again, if you tap on the right hand side, as you can see here, it's going to move the gimbal extremely quickly for if you want to capture any sports moments, and then again turning it off, you can see then just how smoothly it's going to pan. So again, you've got the option of some really fast movement with the gimbal or some really smooth cinematic movement depending on the shot that you want to get. And then the last mode that you have is the barrel roll. Now you see this a lot in movies, so this is a really awesome option to have on such a cheap gimbal, but what this allows you to do is get 360-degree movement. And like I mentioned, this is a move that you would normally only be able to get with some really advanced camera gear, so to get this on a budget gimbal or a cheaper gimbal of this sort is a really awesome addition to have. I would however use it a little bit sparingly, because if this does get overused it can look a little bit bad, but again, moving in and out of a subject can look really awesome in certain situations. And all of these same panning and tilting and using the joystick can also be used when the gimbal is completely upside down. So again, there's no setting that you need to do here, just flip the gimbal upside down and you can see here that it's going to adjust everything that it needs to, but make sure that you don't have the orientation lock on your device like I do, as all your footage is going to be upside down. But again, if you do want to get those really stable and really low to the ground shots, this is a really great way to do it. Now what I would also do is pair this up with a monopod, for example. So again, if you want to get some really low shots or some really high shots, you don't need to crouch extremely low and you can kind of get a crane movement, which I'll show you in the test footage in just a moment. And the last 6 minutes and 35 seconds would be completely useless if the footage didn't actually look good. So again, I'm using Filmic Pro 4K 30 frames a second, so let's take a look. Now I think the footage itself looks really good, but I want to hear from you guys in the comment section down below exactly what you think of this gimbal and the footage that you've just seen. Now for me, I think it looks really nice, it's extremely stable, there's some nice movement to it as well when you are panning left and right, and there's not really too much of that up and down bob that you do get with some gimbals on the market. Now speaking of some other gimbals, I've done a full review of the DJI Osmo Mobile 2 and also some test footage which I'll link in the description down below, and I've also got the Zhiyun Smooth 4 gimbal which I'm going to be taking a look at very shortly, so if that's something you guys want to see, be sure to give it a thumbs up down below. And I may also have the Crane 2 for DSLRs as well, which is going to be really awesome to take a look at. If you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up down below, and if you've got any questions or comments about this gimbal or any other gimbals in general, then let me know in the comments section or on Twitter at @CopperVs.Glass. If you're not already subscribed, now is a great time to do so, and also don't forget to turn on notifications as well, so that you're notified anytime that I post a new video here on the channel. I'm Michael from CopperVs.Glass, thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video.